As you might have heard, I'm making a game in Roblox. Sadly, Roblox isn't known for making particularly good games. Girl guard. Block screws. However, as you can see from my channel, I am very based in quality. I at least want to make something that I can look at and be kind of proud of. So I do not want to make another grow a garden on Roblox. I want to make, stay with me now, a turn-based RPG. Okay, I know. Stop, wait. Don't click off the video. I know turn-based games are slow and they're boring, but that's only if it's Pokemon. Tons of other turn-based games are amazing. I'm gonna be basing my game kind of off of the Persona series, which I kind of covered in other videos. That isn't the game that got you acting up all those years ago. It's a more quick version of turn-based combat, retaining the tactical elements. So, alright, That Glasses Gamer, your game is a turn-based game where you fight. So, what's the setting? I don't know.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
All I really know in this game is just a little bit of gameplay stuff. You can upgrade yourself, which is obvious, and you can go on quests. Other than that, I kind of don't really know anything. I kind of had like 2 ideas for settings. One's kind of like you're a pirate and you're hunting for treasure and stuff. And it's basically just One Piece.
The One Piece! The One Piece is real!
The other one is you're in a high school and you fight monsters, and you might go to some different realms every once in a while. Yeah, that's just Bleach. Those are pretty much the 2 big settings I thought of. If you guys have any ideas for that, comment it below. Also, one last other thing. The game's file is gonna be in a link in the description. You can download it, but you'll have to open it up in Roblox Studio, not Roblox itself. And it's a little bit tedious, but if you wanna play my prototype that I'm making, I'm not making a full game right now. That's gonna be for later on. You can just download that and open it in Roblox Studio. With that out of the way, let's actually make this game. I started out by making a guy named Rig. Rig's basic entire purpose in life is to be a punching bag. We're gonna have to try to kill him each and every run. He can only attack me or my friend, which we'll get into later. At least for Rig is that he basically starts combat once you get close enough, and he has some basic AI. Whenever I get close enough, it'll start combat with me and me alone, or my companion, but I won't know that it started. So eventually I knew I had to make a UI element that had to be shown to the player. Eventually I was able to make a little attack button and a little combat started UI element, GUI element that shows up to show you that they've started combat. However, they didn't appear, making them fundamentally useless. After quite a bit of finagling, I was finally able to get them to show up, although when you click the attack button, it doesn't attack, so gotta fix that too. Combat finally actually works. Let's go. It ends whenever someone dies. Well, the attack button only attacks that very specific character named Rig. I'll need to fix that eventually. And the guy named Rig still attacks when his health bar is 0. But other than that, I'm completely fine. Let's go! Let's go! After so much coding, I finally got this to work. This is Coder, That Glasses Gamer speaking. Here to explain everything. The reason why this stupid version of That Glasses Gamer is so excited will be explained very shortly. There's a script in my game called Combat Manager. It's located inside the server, which is the overarching thing that controls everything in the game. There's also the client, which is also just my side, or your side if you decide to play his crappy game. Client controls everything on the player's side. The Combat Manager basically sends whoever's turn it is, saying, bro, it's your turn. And once they're done with their turn, the person whose turn it is says, chat, my turn is over, and it goes to the next person. What I did is added an event. Events happen whenever combat starts, combat ends, a turn starts, a turn ends, but I also added another one called Apply Effect. What happened before this was that whenever I wanted to attack someone, it would directly send something like reduce an enemy's health inside of the script. But now, it sends a little snippet of code and a list of people getting targeted by the code to the Combat Manager, and it handles the rest. We don't have to lift a finger. So that is why the stupid version of myself is so happy. Thank you for listening, and back to the show. I fixed something what I think happened was that the player was chaining multiple skills and effects. I fixed that. I don't even know how I did that, but it's fixed.
Yes, we just fixed that. I don't know how.
The next thing I added was some targeting code. Gets whatever you clicked, and make sure that the model is an actual person that can be attacked, not a stupid rock. And then you can attack the person that you clicked on by pressing the attack button. I've added some code so it checks to make sure the person you're attacking is an enemy. I haven't thoroughly tested this yet, so it might not work, but I'm gonna save any testing and general smart ideas for the next video. The next massive undertaking I will be doing.
And you know what else is massive?
Was the turn order system. The basic way it works is basically each person fighting in combat gets a number between 1 to 100. Higher numbers are better as you get to act first in combat. It's already preset for all the characters already because I don't care for randomness and I don't feel like doing extra work just in case some people get like the exact same turn number, which would suck. I would have to recode everything, but I'll do that later. Procrastinating, that's amazing. It counts down until it gets to 1. It checks if anyone's turn is the number that the combat manager is currently on, sends a message or event that basically tells the person whose turn it's currently on, hey bro, it's your turn, and waits until it gets a message saying that their turn is over. After their turn is over, it keeps going down until it reaches 1, and then it goes back to 100 until one side dies or until the sun explodes and we all die. Instead of being applied instantly, delayed effects also have a turn number. This means whenever their combat manager gets to the turn number of the effect, it'll just apply the effect with the same logic as a normal apply effect with the entire target thing. The clip I found was a clip of me using Microsoft Paint to explain some stuff about my item and my skill system. If you want, you can skip and go straight ahead. It's not that important.
It's gonna be like a PowerPoint. All right, so we're gonna have 3 basic things. This, I'm not gonna redraw everything. So this is going to be all the skills. Skills can range from basically a basic attack, which would probably take your current weapon into account. They can range from shooting a fireball. I need to draw a better fireball. This folder right here, basically signifies a player's pool of skills that they can take upon. And this right here, I can draw a little bit then. This represents an enemy's pool. So an enemy's pool of skills that they can draw in. So all of these skills, they're not really anything special. All these skills are basically just something in Roblox Studio that we call configurations. Configurations are kind of like folders in a way, but they're just called configuration. I don't even know why they're called configurations. At its base core, a configuration is nothing more than a special folder. I think the only difference between a configuration and a folder is that a configuration can only hold values, right? They can only hold stuff like numbers, strings, that sort of thing. So this is a configuration right here. For example, this is the base effect, but we can just see that this is a configuration. I don't know why configuration's like that, but yeah, it is. Alright, configuration. That's a configuration. In the configuration, we have a bunch of stuff like actual effects, effect code, which is just a bunch of text that I made. Configuration has your effect code, duh. It has the amount of targets, which is just a simple number. And I also had a little other configuration that also includes the target conditions. So this configuration basically includes all the tags that are needed by someone that you need to target. So example, this tag is target conditions. The conditions that a target needs to be for it to be a valid target. For example, if you have like a heal spell, you might only be able to cast the heal spell on your friends or yourself. So that would be a tag. If you have like a basic attack, you can probably only cast that on enemies or something. Whenever you want the player acquires a skill for some reason, it goes inside, gets the configuration, which is just this right here. Let's say he wants to get a basic attack. And then it's copied inside the player's folder so that they can access that. The same thing goes for the enemy. Let's say an enemy wants to have a basic attack and a fireball. Instead, we just already drag it inside of the enemy's folder, wherever it is. So their stuff is already there, but the player has to acquire that, if that makes sense. The same thing would be said for items. I just want to rebrand some of these items. Instead of a basic attack, it's going to be a sword. Items function a little bit differently because other than having different values and skills, some basic other stuff is different. Yeah, that's pretty much the only big thing that's different with items. There'd be a different folder. So items are just nothing but configurations. You see, the big thing with them, items will obviously have models. For example, if you want to swing a sword, a physical 3D model for that sword. So we're also gonna have a models folder or maybe just an item models folder. The big difference is that there's still configurations, they just have different values, which I probably said earlier. It would have stuff like the weight of the item, the value in gold of the item. And beneath all that, configurations can also have things called object values, which can reference things like models, for example. So it can have a reference to the model of the sword. And this model of the sword obviously has the model, which is like the 3D model. But it might also have some code in there too, if we need it. And it would also have animations, probably, for swinging the sword. So whenever this is copied in a player's pool, let's just say that they have a sword in there. Whenever you need to pull out the sword, you would have to look in the configuration, get to the models right there, and then pull it out, and then you'd probably put it inside of the actual player's character. And then you would just do the animations, I would think. There would probably be some code for unpacking all this model stuff. It's just generally a thing. Alright, so last thing I want to do is see how effect code works. So whenever we want to do I just want to show you guys how skill code works. I probably cut this out from the rest of it. So we obviously have the skills folder. This skills folder can either be in the big replicated storage, like I said earlier, which anyone can access it. It's like the basic reference for all skills. It can either be in replicated storage, which I currently have it now, or it could be in the player. So this is the skills folder. So whenever the player wants to do a skill, let's just say they want to do fireball for a year. There's also combat manager, which is a script inside of the server. So let's say the player wants to cast fireball, it would get the stuff for fireball real quick. It would get fireball's effects. It would get fireball's valid targets. It would get the amount of targets fireball has, all that stuff. And then from there on, it would use this. Let's say that it would use this. You would have to, for example, get the valid targets, get the amount of targets, do an entire choosing thing. You'd have to just click on the enemy. You have to click on the skill, click on the enemy, validate it through the player, and then boom, it's good to go. After we actually get and say that the targets are valid, we basically just don't need any of the just checking stuff. We don't need to check any more targets. What we need to do is we get like a basic table, which is a basic list of all the enemies, which is just this guy. You can have a list with just a single person, but if you wanted a list of more bad guys, let's say this evil cat over here that can shoot bombs. That is a JoJo reference, by the way. That is definitely a JoJo reference. If you want to use this evil cat over there, we can shoot bombs. We can also put that in there. If we have the fireball can affect multiple people. But for now, we're just assuming fireball can only affect one person. We would get this, and then we would pass both this, and the effect to the manager. The targets and the effect to the manager. We would also probably pass any other stuff. Well, my combat system has this little queue system, basically. I want to explain it real quick. The way I see it is that everyone takes their turns in a queue. So basically, it goes down the list and just throughout everyone. But there can and just checks, and then it says, "Yo, bro, it's your turn," and it just gives the signal. The player can choose what they want to do, and then the enemy can choose what they want to do. There can also be certain skills in this. For example, if let's say fireball is a delayed skill, it would take place after the enemy. So not all delayed skills just have to take place during a certain time. So it's a delayed skill. So you could the fireball. It wouldn't take place during this guy's turn. It would take place during that place, real quick. So we'd have any delays. We'd put any delays in there, any extra stuff. So the skill manager gets all this and it puts it inside of the queue, and then it just decides to actually apply. It actually applies the effect by putting it inside of a load string. It puts the effect into actual code that would actually work in Roblox, and then it just, applies it. And then it goes back, and then it checks who the next person's turn is, and then it just goes there, so on and so forth. I hope that made some degree of sense how this game works, because that's just the building foundation for combat in this game.
I made a sword. If you have a skill called sword slash, it'll deal the sword you have equip's damage value. I made a basic model in Blender and it's fine for a prototype. I put it into Roblox Studio and decided to get this config set up. That was pretty easy. However, the hard part was getting inside of the player's backpack. Nothing, and I mean nothing, was working. I was banging my head on that for an entire day, bro. It was an entire day wasted. And I had to go on the Roblox forums to solve it. You know, the dregs of humanity. Turns out the problem was the backpack wasn't actually a thing yet. So I had to just wait for like 5 seconds. So then it was fixed, and boom, it was fixed with literally 7 letters of code. A day for 7 letters to fix it. It works now, but come on, man. After looking on the Roblox forums for an answer, which I didn't get, I decided to skulk around and look for any information on making a turn-based RPG. I found some, and I figured out that one of the most important things to make was the GUI. So I decided to come up with a completely new UI to replace my crappy one. I made a 3-button GUI. Flee, which just skips your turn. The items button doesn't do anything. And the fight button brings up a scrolling flame, which is just basically a box with a scroll bar. And it brings up all the skills that your current player has. You can click a skill first, and then you press an enemy, and it applies the skill to said enemy, as opposed to clicking an enemy, then a button. This was stupidly hard for just a little thing, but hey, it was really worth it. Our next big thing is our companion, Ricky! I freaking love Ricky, he looks so amazing. He also has a bomb. I would assume it's in his pants because you can't see it. Pause. I've noticed in other RPGs, you sometimes have companions that follow you around, and I kind of want to make that experience. Too bad you can't talk to Ricky. He's kind of a silent guy. He's seen some stuff. I decided to steal Roblox tutorial code for making pathfinding and put it in my own game. I feel like everyone's used this block at least once. I mean, don't patronize me for stealing this code. It's free to use. He follows you around and humps you a little bit. Yeah, I fixed it a bit. I mean, it looks kind of smoother, I guess. The big thing is that Ricky is now considered a combatant in combat, so now it's not just a one-on-one, it's a 2-on-1. That was the friend I was talking about. Don't you just love unfair fights? He has a turn number, and he gets to use his skill, which is called Ricky's Big Bomb. It only does like 70 damage, and it shouldn't one-shot enemies, but it does. Ricky is now good to go. I just realized RPGs have quests. Like, that's a pretty big part of stuff. And they have talking. Holy cannoli, I gotta implement quests and talking and I only have 1 day. Well, time to get to work. My basic idea for a quest was a guy named Buggy the Painter. He lives in a house. You can talk to Buggy and I'll tell you to kill a guy. Gee, I wonder who that guy is. I decided to make the house in Blender. I made a house, it was horrible. It just looks like a nasty, weird crayon. The roof was really weird. I was not putting that in the game. I made a slightly better new one. It has a beautiful pink interior with the painter's signature, with Buggy's signature. And I quickly got into Roblox Studio, putting Buggy in it. But he's a very unique boy. I gave Buggy a bit of dialogue that's kind of bad. The code is messed up, it barely works, it's spaghetti code. But since it's Roblox integrated dialogue system, I didn't feel like making a dialogue system on my own. I'm sure I could have been a lot better than what I got, but yeah. So we have a quest. So let's watch the quest prototype. You could also play it yourself with the GitHub by downloading it and putting it in Roblox Studio, like I've said earlier. I wouldn't want to play it if I were you, so instead, here's an amazing theater-style movie with me playing this game. Enjoy. Bon appetit.
What is up, my friend? Do you want to kill a random person? Sure. Kill the guy named Rick. There's a guy named Ricky that should be following you. He can help out. Take this. I killed him. Good job.